In this edition of LeBron James Says Something and the news media has to talk about it, we're going to talk about why LeBron James feels the Cavaliers need a playmaker. And here's what I love about this idea of using the word playmaker. When you read on Hoops Rumors in a couple of places, they're looking into guys like Jameer Nelson, 35-year-old backup point guard for Denver. Man, that guy can make plays. A little bit of sarcasm, a little bit of hostility in the tone. It's a happy day. We're talking about basketball. We're going to be talking about football and sports. Hi, Francis.
Hi.
Morning.
Morning.
How you doing?
I'm great.
How do you feel about LeBron?
I think these comments are, as much as people like to take LeBron's comments out of context, these ones, whatever way you want to take it in context, I feel like they're a little bit insulting to his teammates, right? Specifically Kyrie Irving. Now, this is a team that I think you need people to consistently point out flaws so that you don't get complacent, right? LeBron James does that better than anyone. Like Draymond Green's right there in the same category because Draymond Green during the Golden State Warriors is one of their most successful seasons was like, we haven't done shit. This is what we have to do, basically. And LeBron James is, every year he pushes to be better. And he stated in his quote, we're not better this year than what we were last year. We're top heavy as shit, is his words were. So I don't think he's directly trying to demean Kyrie Irving, because Kyrie Irving more often than not is at times comes in as a scorer more than a playmaker. So I can see sort of where his point lies. But in a way, you can't say something like that without understanding that there will be some sort of repercussion, because people will take it and they'll be in Kyrie Irving's ear. What do you think? LeBron doesn't think you're a playmaker. He doesn't think you can do this, doesn't think you can do that. And I think it's more unsettling than anything else. I mean, Kyrie Irving, for all we know, this guy has got friends tattooed on his arm. He's got thick skin. He knows exactly what it takes to win a championship, as he's proven. But in my opinion, I think this might unsettle the dynamic just a little bit, because it seems like LeBron James just wanting more and more and more, even though he has a great squad around him. And I'm not saying that he couldn't add a few moving pieces, but I think that this is kind of a bit of a dagger towards the team and what they're looking to accomplish.
In LeBron's case, here's his words. Exactly. There's two quotes, and then he went to Twitter after that. We're not better than last year from a personal standpoint. We're a top-heavy team. We just hope that we're not satisfied as an organization. I just hope we're not satisfied. How hard it was to do that shit. It's like when you don't have bodies. It's tough. The effing grind of the regular season. We're a top-heavy team. We have a top-heavy team. We top-heavy as shit. It's me, Irving, Love. It's top-heavy. I ain't got no problems with the front office, said James via the Akron Beacon General. I told Griffin, his GM, to his face that, so it ain't like I'm telling y'all to put it on record. I see Griff all the time. One thing about me, if I got something to say, I'm going to tell you it to your face. We need an effing playmaker. I'm not saying you can just go find one, like you can go outside and see trees. I didn't say that. I think that's really funny, though. Yeah. Like, look, man, we need a playmaker. We also need oak. We need some other trees. But that's what I'm saying. It's not like they're going to be trading for a playmaker. And I'm not trying to discredit like Jameer Nelson completely, or somebody who would come in like Nate Robinson if they were to really give him a call and bring him out of retirement. But they're not talking about somebody that's going to be making any sort of splash without LeBron in the mix. LeBron is the playmaker. Kyrie is the scorer. Kevin Love has become the Swiss Army knife on the offensive end in a way for the Cavaliers. And the whole reason this happened, it's because they dropped 5 out of 7 and lost a game to a team without their superstar Anthony Davis where they never should have lost. Yeah. And that's why this comes out. If the Cavs have won 5 out of 7 and beat the Pelicans, I don't think LeBron's saying we need a playmaker. But what he's smart about in this situation is because they're losing 5 out of 7 and now he's airing out what he told his general manager to the press. Now it starts to become, all right, maybe LeBron's right. Look, man, we've had this conversation 150 different ways when he was on the Heat, and then he went back to the Cavs. Is LeBron the coach? Is Spoelstra the coach? Is LeBron the coach? Is Lou the coach? Is LeBron the GM or is Pat Riley the GM? Yeah. Is LeBron the GM or is Griffin the GM? He delivered you your championship, so at this point, you kind of have to give him the benefit of the doubt. If he didn't do that last year, then you could maybe say, just play the game, LeBron. Yeah. But the guy continues to prove that he's at the top of his game. So.
Well, I think it goes back to, I think his frustrations have been there. I don't think that these are new. I mean, you're right. If he's winning, then you're not going to expect him to come out and uproar when they're winning games.
But it wouldn't be we need an effing playmaker. It would be like, look, man, I think that possibly, like, you can see some trees outside. We need a playmaker to go with those trees that we see outside.
I think that I think he's been envious of the teams that are going forward and looking to compete this year that have fire under their ass from what happened. Like, obviously, Golden State Warriors. And I'm not talking about the big pickup of Kevin Durant. I'm talking about strengthening positions.
Zaza Pachulia.
And then West and McGee they brought in, right? And then when you look at the Spurs as well, like this is a team that had a aging point guard in Tony Parker, and they've brought in David Lee and Dedmon, whereas the Cavs, they traded what I would consider, it's a weird term, but a veteran backup in Dellavedova, someone who can step in and carry.
They didn't
well, no, but I'm saying, but what I mean is like you lost him in free agency,
right.
Along with Mozgov, and then who do you replace him with? You replace him with a rookie in Kay who comes in, and fucking Birdman, who's been injured.
Well, he's out for the season. First of all, don't. We have nothing against Birdman.
I've got nothing against him, but I'm saying that's who you're replacing.
I love Birdman
with free agency. I love the Birdman as well, but I'm saying he's taking him with him.
He's out for the season.
He's out for the season, so he has got somewhat of a point. It doesn't mean that it's the terminology. If he went, we can't expect Kyrie Irving to do this all on his own. He's coming into his own as a shooter. We can't expect them to be a playmaker. But by saying we need a playmaker means that you don't have that. I think what he would have been better saying is we can't rely on him to do it all on his own. We need a backup coming in there. He said that Kay could not win a playoff game right now as a rookie, and I think that's somewhat valid because if you take out Steph Curry or you take out anyone else in that team, you're going to have Sean Livingston who can step in, who's obviously a good backup player who can come in and help. You get Zaza who can help them and push through, and I think that depth, as it always has proven to be in any sports, is depth can win you championships.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not that it can win you. It has won you championships. The Spurs, on top of having top-heavy teams with the guys like the likes of Tim Duncan and Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, when they were in their prime and playing a lot more minutes, they were like 12 players deep. That every single guy that was plugged into that system, any single guy that came off the bench, was able to give you quality minutes, quality points, quality. Whatever everyone had their purpose. This is very similar, and I guess we'll wrap up before we go on too long. It's very similar to Nick Saban's coaching philosophy, which is like and Bill Belichick. You do your job. If every single player does their job on every given day on this process of doing, then you're going to win football games. Same thing with basketball, man. Some players are specialists for a certain reason, and you know what, man? It's Kyle Korver's team, so I don't want to hear from LeBron anymore. I want to hear from Kyle Korver.
Yeah, well, I'd love that if LeBron was just waiting post-game and all the cameras just went up to him and just went, Kyle, what do you think about this?
Do you think you need a playmaker? I think we need a playmaker. I think we need Jameer Nelson. Again, and look, man, it's not Jameer Nelson's fault that he's 35 and a backup point guard averaging like 8.5 points per game this season. It's just that like that's not what we think of in general as a playmaker. But by all means, I'll root for the guy. He's a fun player back in the day in college too.
Back in the day.
At Francis_Maxwell. At Francis
M. Maxwell. It's just an added M.
_host on Instagram. At TYT Sports. Facebook.com/TYT Sports. Please go to the Facebook page. I uploaded a video recently of Russell Westbrook almost ending Rudy Gobert's life. Almost. He almost murdered him. And it would have been the dunk of the year if it happened, but it didn't.